Hi, and welcome to Iep Answers. I'm Liz Weaver of Learning Success, and I'll be your host for this exciting video series. Iep Answers is an initiative to help you understand Individualized Education Plans, otherwise known as IEPs. In this video series, you will hear from educational professionals and parents alike, giving you a well-rounded perspective from a variety of viewpoints. This information will help you determine if an IEP is needed at all, and if so, how to work with the school system to design an IEP that is a scaffolding to building a better student rather than a crutch for them to lean on. In today's video, Joseph Hoelscher, who was an award-winning high school teacher who is now a Texas welfare lawyer with over a decade of experience litigating cases on behalf of children and parents. He is a published legal scholar, legal education trainer, and board member of Starlight Autism Center. Joseph and his wife Melissa, a former school board member, have 3 kids in the basis school system, one of whom has an IEP. And today in this video, he's going to share his experience as a parent and an attorney to give tips on how to avoid needing an attorney to get involved with your IEP. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Hello, y'all. My name is Joseph Hoelscher. I'm a child welfare attorney with the law firm of Hoelscher, Gebbia, Cepeda, PLLC in San Antonio, Texas. And I'm making this video to help give parents some tips about how to approach an IEP meeting for their children. It's IEP time of year again, and so this is a good time to start planning for your child's IEP team meeting, or as we call them in Texas, an ARD meeting or ARD meeting, which stands for Admission, Review, and Dismissal. I'm going to use those terms, IEP meeting and ARD meeting or IEP team or ARD committee, sort of interchangeably here. I have to give you a disclaimer. Nothing in this video is legal advice or establishes an attorney-client relationship between you and me. In fact, the reason I'm sharing these tips is more as a parent of a child on an IEP to help avoid the necessity of hiring an attorney to come try and get your child what they need. So there's 3 basic tips. The first is be prepared. Okay? The second is ask questions. And the third is document everything. If you do these things, it's more likely that you're going to get a good IEP that suits your child and that you avoid confusion in the future. So the first tip is be prepared, okay? For whatever reason your child needs an IEP, you probably are working with some professionals who can help you get prepared. A doctor, an occupational therapist, speech pathologist, counselor. So before you go for your IEP meeting, and most schools have some kind of pre-meeting as well. So even before that meeting, go consult with your doctors, your counselors, and ask them, my IEP is coming up. What should I be asking the school to do? What concerns should I raise? You know your child better than anybody else. So you may have some ideas for what the school needs to be doing differently. I know we do usually, and most of the parents I work with do. So think about those, list them out, spend some time coming up with ideas for how to address those concerns that you have, and go into your ARD meeting or IEP meeting with a game plan and a checklist for things that your child needs. That'll help you stay on track in the meeting and know what to ask for. The second thing is to ask questions, right? That's the second tip. A lot of parents are confronted with this group of individuals on the IEP team. They don't feel like they're as qualified as they are. These are people with authority, people with special credentials. But again, you're the expert on your child, and you are a key member of your ARD committee or IEP team. So don't worry about asking questions, right? Asking questions is an opportunity for other people to really clarify and give you the benefit of their expertise. And it's a good way to make sure that everybody's expectations are on the same page. So ask questions and ask detailed questions. For example, my child needs breaks sometimes during class. So right now, when they say we want to give him more breaks during class, make sure he has an opportunity for breaks, my question is, well, how are we going to do that? And he uses a break card that he holds up. He just needs a few minutes, not have anybody interact with him so he can kind of gather himself. A follow-up question to that is, how are we going to address that in class? Because, he's the only one with a break card. So I don't want my son coming home and being, all upset and telling me that the teacher embarrassed him in class. So getting the teacher to think about that ahead of time is a good way to make sure that the first time it happens, there's no scene or anything like that, no drama. Just all these questions are an opportunity to get people to think about the nitty gritty of how this IEP is going to be implemented, as well as what's on the IEP. So ask questions, ask until you understand it. Don't stop until you are really clear on what's going on. This will help you with the third tip, okay? Document everything. So when you go into the meeting, make sure that you are taking tons of notes, all right? We use a child information toolkit. It's part of our preparation, part of that first tip, which is just a notebook with our old IEPs, notes from old ARD meetings. We have different sections. His school records is one section. Notes from his speech therapist is another section. One of my sections is my checklist, things I want to ask for. And under each item, I have room for notes so that I can write in there, this is how we're solving this particular issue today. Take lots of notes so that you have a record of what happened in your IEP meeting. But also make sure you get copies of everything. So, usually there's a meeting coordinator at our school, and we're going to get their notes plus a draft IEP. If you don't want to sign that draft or just sign a document right there, feel free to ask for time to review it. But whatever you do, make sure you get plenty of copies. There shouldn't be any paperwork with your signature on them that you don't have a copy of, because later, if there is an issue, you need to have that document to refer to. So the third part of documenting everything is to send a follow-up email, okay? Now, when they hand you an IEP, if something's vague, like it just says, we'll give your son more breaks in class, feel free to write in details and ask, like, hey, my understanding is we're going to do it with a break card, right? So is it okay if I just write this in here? I mean, they can't say no if that's what they said. So you write it in, you initial it, they initial it, and that's part of the IEP. You want the documentation. But if you forget something like that, if you don't do that, or the IEP has something that's vague, or you have a question that comes up after the meeting, as often happens, the best way to do that is to send a follow-up email with a copy of your notes, okay, and a request for everybody to review them, as well as list out all of your understandings about how each step of the IEP is going to be handled, what everybody's obligations are, and who your points of contact are if an issue comes up, who you go to first, who you go to second, and so forth. And ask them, is everybody else in agreement that this is what happened? Do you guys have any questions? Is there any other obligations on my part? If they respond, you can engage in a conversation now that will all be documented through email and try to solve those issues. If they ignore you and don't respond, then it can be assumed that they agree with that. And you have the ability to come back later and say, hey, look, you're not doing this. And if they say, well, it's not in the IEP, you can say, yeah, but I sent the follow-up email and you never said anything different. So again, stick with your 3 steps. Take the time to prepare, consult your experts, and know what you want before the IEP, preferably before any pre-ARD or pre-IEP meeting. When you're in the IEP, the second step is to ask lots of questions, right? Don't worry about the timing. They may worry about how quickly they can get out of there. Ask until you understand, until you can visualize how things are going to be implemented for your child, and until all of your questions are answered to your satisfaction. If they can't answer them, ask for another meeting later. Follow up somewhere else, okay? But just ask the questions. Don't be afraid to do that. And the third thing is document it all. Memories change. Things may go great all year, and then in the last, 6 weeks, you may suddenly have a problem, and nobody's going to remember what they talked about in the ARD meeting. So make sure you document it. Make sure you get copies of any documents, and make sure that you follow up with an email that very expressly and in a detailed way memorializes what your understanding of how things are going to go down really is, and see if everybody agrees with it. If you follow these 3 steps, be prepared, ask questions, and document everything, hopefully you will avoid drama and get a good result for your child, an individual education program that will really meet his or her needs. So good luck this school year, y'all. And I can tell you right now, you're on the right track because you're watching this video. That means you're one of the parents who really cares, is really trying to do the best. So congratulations on that. I wish you all the best.
Thanks, Joseph. That was really great information. This video has been part of the Iep Answers Initiative, an initiative to educate parents about IEPs from a variety of viewpoints. We've created this because this is an important subject that so many parents need to understand. Please make sure to share the video, and when you do, use the hashtag IEP Answers so we can find you on social media. If you would like to be a part of Iep Answers Initiative and share your story or expertise on the subject, you can get in touch with us by using the contact form at www.learningsuccesssystem.com and put IEP Answers in the subject line. Thank you for taking the time to watch and share. And in case no one else has told you yet today, you are an amazing parent. I appreciate you for showing up and doing the work it takes to embrace your child's brilliance and unleash their potential. I'm Liz Weaver from Learning Success, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.